call this meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Today's date, well, September 2022, the roll call. We do have excused absence for President Pro Tem Dwayne Benoit, and I'm sure Mr. Martin Moore will be here shortly. At this point, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. Alright, motion by Mr. Hamilton to approve the minutes. Second. Second by Suzanne. Any other discussion? Vote for? It's all in favor. Moving on to people before council. We have Mr. Chatham's here. If you want it, whatever you're comfortable. You can sit, you can stand, whatever you're
Doesn't
comfortable.
make any difference to me
No,
wherever.
whatever
I can
you're
see the most
comfortable
of you
with.
without you having to crank your heads around.
Thank you.
I bought the house over on 303 Oak. It was June that I reclosed on the house and I took possession late June. Got it all cleaned out and everything, and there's water damage to the basement. And when we have rains, especially torrential rain, but just even a normal rain, I have water that's coming off of License Street. I have video of it to show you. Coming off of License Street, running through the gravel of the driveway. It's running through the yard and across the yard against the foundation of the house. It's causing the foundation of the house to crack and blow in. So I had some foundation repair to do. But it's going across the gravel of the driveway, flooding the driveway, and using the sidewalk as a gutter, and then going up against the house. And it'll run all the way across the basement floor on super heavy rains. Light rains, it stays on like half the basement floor. But if we get the torrentials, it will run all the way across the basement floor. Our desire is to finish that basement, and I can't get it finished until I can ensure that all the water problems are solved. I've rerouted the downspouts, so I know that none of the water is coming from the downspouts. But my desire is, or hope is, that I can get some kind of curbing put in, even across the front of the driveway, kind of like you did by the furniture store years ago. There's a dry patch curbing that's been put in the whole distance of their property to keep water issues from Live Street. But if you go to the end of Live Street and you turn around and you look up the alley by Benoit's, you can see that the entire road loses its crown and then it leans towards our property. There's gravel in there right now that's been there forever for extra parking. I don't care about that gravel. I want to return it to the yard, so there's going to be no parking there on my street. I don't care if there would be a small ditch dug there next to the road, catch all the water and run it down to Oak Street, just over the hill, to divert it away from the property. I took a mattock and I dug across my driveway, just a trench that far across my driveway. And during a light rain, I went over and I captured it. You can see the water coming off of the street through the gravel, getting in that trench, running out of the gravel in between the concrete part of the driveway and the trench has no standing water in it. That little trench is diverted. And since I've done that, it's really eliminated most of the water. I'm still getting water that's coming in through the yard and running down the sidewalk next to the house. So I've got some video, I've got some pictures. I don't know how to display all the video to everybody, so
I think what you described gave us all a good visual.
Yeah.
you don't need video evidence.
No, I just don't know. Yeah, you can
So-
ask them.
And thank you, I know what you're talking about. What's your solution, Mr. Henry?
Greg and I talked about this because I was up there when I turned his water on right after we bought the place, and we looked at it then.
And
About the only thing that I can think of we could do is maybe build some kind of like a blacktop curbing like along the edge to divert the water down to Oak Street and let it go on down. There's catch basins on Oak Street. Light Street does not have anything, and there's no curbing on Light Street. So I understand exactly what he's saying, and if you look at the road, because I looked at it when we was up there that day, and there's no doubt that the ground of the road, all the water is going towards that side. So the only solution I would know is we probably have to have somebody come in here and like blacktop or something and build it. Because I wouldn't try to put concrete curbing down through there. For one, we're hoping to be able to repave that street in the next couple of years.
Right.
We could probably, without a lot of expense, maybe put, some kind of black to just build like a little, almost like a speed bump, only not as big.
Right.
Just
Right.
divert the water on down the street, force it to go down to Oak Street.
How many feet would that be, if you did that?
I don't know, I have
From the
to.
alley to and you wouldn't even have to go to the corner.
You wouldn't.
You just have to go to where it starts sloping off to it.
Downhill.
Yeah. Basically where the gravel is, on the property now, and then back to the alley, and then the driveway that runs in behind the property to that second house. It would really need to go all the way back there because I have water running down in that little patch of grass behind, the garage.
so if we put a curb in there, a blacktop curb in there, you're going to have a bump getting into your driveway garage.
That does not bother me at all, as long as that wouldn't break up, and then 3 years later, I run into the same solution, or same problem. That curbing would be a temporary thing until the road was repaved.
Right.
That's what I was gonna
Right.
point out, so when we repave that road, we can come up with a work.
That's what
Even if we
yeah,
could put a catch basin in right there beside the
I
driveway,
would.
one side or the other, that would not bother me one bit. Or if you wanted to bring dirt in and build it up, instead of putting in a temporary curbing to keep the dirt out, and then just trench across my driveway. It doesn't matter to me what gets done. I don't care, I'm open, whatever's cheapest for the village. I just need no more water damage, so I can repair the house and fix it up.
Huh?
I mean, what would, the engineer charge to top?
We've already got Light Street drawn up, so just adding a little bit of changes probably wouldn't be so much.
So we'd have to.
Because that's the one that
There's the
we've been
curb
holding
down
off
by
because
the
we wanted to
furniture
control
store.
it.
That was in the plan. Matter of fact,
Yeah, and
all
that
it is-
would work,
Well,
by the
except
driveway
for
eventually.
we need to add that curbing or something in there. I'm sure that was, I didn't see the original plans,
I
but
don't-
Ralph and them had that drawn up before I took over. Because that was originally, Light Street was on, we put out a year or so ago, but then it got denied. Well, then we didn't put back in for it the next time because we were gonna have to put in for this grant, and then some
There's
culvert
about
down
10
there.
feet.
So we just put back in for it.
I plan on,
So it would be
Concrete in
next
there.
year's
Yeah.
application.
I plan on making, bring it up higher and then
No.
divert it back towards the road.
2 years ago.
There's like 4 people
Yes.
talking, please.
Yes. So, I mean, that would work temporarily, but, I mean, what's gonna happen in the snowplow?
Yeah, that way.
Yes, yeah, and then as the snow thaws and everything,
It'll run right back. in.
right back in, and even more so because the ground will be frozen.
Right.
What's your property dimensions? Do you have any idea? They 33 or 66 by 132.
It's gonna be real close to that. I don't.
Let me look it up on the,
Seen
Potter's
them all?
website real quick.
Mine is, I think, is that in town, so that's.
Because I just measured that one down there, used to be Davis's, Guy Davis, remember? Because I had to be down there last week because they put a pole barn or a garage in back behind. So I just measured that, and I think it was 132, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it's right out here.
66 by 132. All right,
It's
that
right
sounds
here.
right.
Could be on the map.
So-
Not all of them does it, but
I'm pretty sure it is, Carol.
And
no.
the alley behind you in the driveway,
Yes.
your property runs like this and your garage is here.
Yes, that is
And-
correct.
And this is driveway, and this is.
75 and 132.
This actually goes all the way back
75?
to the driveway going into the garage, the gravel does.
Okay.
And I've got about 10 feet of gravel before I have the concrete in the driveway.
I know exactly where you're talking about, and I've seen that.
Right here, you see? And that's that trench.
Right.
So the gravel goes on.
My only asphalt can kind of be seasonal,
Right.
so I don't know what time they shut down production.
I think we're still good yet.
Do you?
I think you're usually
Yeah.
usually it's November 15th is when they shut the plants down. Of course, that does depend on the weather. If it turns cold early, then they may shut them down earlier, but normally that's what they try to shoot for. So,
Are we
I mean,
gonna have RJ do that, or are we gonna hire someone?
That's what I was getting ready to say.
I don't know that. I
We
don't know if
we haven't been able to get the guy that we approved for Owley's 2 years ago to come in and do it because they're all backed up, so.
Everybody's-
Getting somebody in here on short notice is
I
a
don't,
big issue.
that would be a pretty tough job probably for us to do by ourselves, I would think.
But it's just two of them.
Yeah. I mean, putting cold packs down is just a waste of money. For one, it's more expensive, and two, there's no chance of it staying at all.
Yeah.
As soon as it got hit by the snowplow, it'd rip it right off, it'd be
Well,
gone.
if we put a catch basin in the corner, then,
The worst thing is with the catch basin, I'm not, the only place that we got a tile to tie into is you're gonna have to go clear down across Oak Street. The only tile I'm aware
we
of.
can't, you can't bring that and discharge it on top of the street. Like, the house is here, and this garage is here or whatever. If we had that catch base, trenched that to here, brought it to there, to discharge on Oak Street,
And let it run down Oak Street or across Oak Street to the.
and then could we, until we get blacktop, or until we get that street, could we put, if we put that and put extra dirt
Yeah,
down
we
across
could-
there?
You can put dirt down through there, I mean, if you want to bring it out, put it out on top of the ground, down there at the bottom, you can probably do that.
There's no sidewalk there.
No, there's no sidewalk, no curb or anything, so you're not.
And I know
you're
that's
not-
a temporary fix. This is a temporary fix.
Thing is,
because we can't-
well,
But we need to have
my only
that.
concern is, well, catch basin, catch everything, if it gets, when on a hard rain, we'll have some catch basin there,
Well,
unless you run
if we
it.
build it up, that would also act as a natural curbing for it, so anything that overflowed from the catch basin, it would keep it from going to the house.
Yeah, we'd have to build that up,
Build the yard up. Do we
Build the
have
yard
extra
up.
dirt around?
we'd have to buy dirt now. I don't think
Field
we've got
dirt?
enough- Yeah, I don't think we've got enough dirt anywhere that I'm aware of. I mean, we do have some topsoil that we've got to do, but not a large amount. Not nearly enough to do a job
Do
like
we
that.
have our backhoe yet?
No, we don't yet.
May I ask a couple questions? And I'm not an engineer, so, would we need to do something, is the ditch more effective than a curb? Would a ditch be more effective, and do we need to do it for more than just one residence? Are there others that have this issue?
There's no one else
No,
down in
I'm on the
there.
downside of the
Okay.
hill.
He's on the downside of the hill.
Okay.
He's catching it all.
Okay,
And the noise are across the street, and then I don't know who's on the corner, but their yards are built up. The
Okay.
corner house, that yard is built up.
so that answers one
And-
question, we
and
don't
you-
need to do
They
it for
actually have a
everyone.
low spot in their yard that fills up and then runs across the street and dumps out into my parking spot, or the parking spot,
Okay,
and then flows onto the house.
so the ditch is probably not a good idea, ditch and a catch basin?
I'm open to a ditch. I mean, whatever's cheapest and
Does that-
easiest, going to be more permanent, less problems out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
open
an
to anything.
engineer, I don't know if that's better than a curb and asphalt,
The
dirt,
thing is,
or.
going across the driveway, I don't know how we'd maintain the ditch unless
Okay.
Do like
I got
culvert.
concrete in there right away
Okay.
and made like a gutter across the mouth of the driveway where the water runs.
That's, my neighbors, that's what they have, is, they've actually got just a corrugated tile with gravel over it.
Yeah.
To get through the driveway. But we don't have a backhoe at this, so what's your
Well, I
time
can-
frame? You know, you
I
can
get
get
it
one.
back, I've already talked to that guy,
My time frame is as soon as possible because it's already caused the damage to the house.
sure,
And it's going
right.
to continue to cause
Yeah.
more damage to the
I
house.
appreciate that you're working on the home, because it's
We
been
need
a
to-
bit of a nuisance,
It's something
so
that
thank you
needs
for
to
that.
get taken care of, especially here in the near future. I mean, it's something we don't want to let go.
we can't let it go till spring.
No, you can't let it
If
go
that's-
spring. You
if that's
can't let
what
it go
you
over
want.
the winter.
I'm just curious,
No,
just.
we can't. It would prevent me from doing anything, and then I'd incur additional damage.
Yeah.
So, Cabell's busy over there?
I don't know, I could call Pat, but I mean, as far as digging it, it's not a problem. I mean, like I said, I already talked to that guy, and they'll bring a backhoe down.
You know, if you want to go down and look, or have somebody come in and look and tell us what the best
Or we-
solution is,
I
we
mean,
don't have to
Have
make
Mark Francis come in.
a
I
decision
could
on
have-
how we're going to do it tonight. If I leave here knowing that it's going to be taken care of, I'm happy.
Okay.
But how it's going to be taken care of, you know, we can take a couple weeks to figure that out.
Okay.
You
I
know,
appreciate your
As long as it doesn't go into the
patience.
winter months.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that's
We don't have to
good.
decide on the method or.
I could probably
or the how
call
it's
Alan and
done.
then have them come down, just have, you know, when they're down this way in the next couple of weeks, if they're out, have them give us some
Well, let's
ideas of what they think might be the best solution.
And then we could add,
Our only
have him
man.
add
Might have to do that.
any permanent solutions on.
Have him add any permanent solutions to that Light Street project when we do
Right.
that here in the next couple of
Right.
years. That way he can look at it and say, hey, we could do this temporarily, and then we can go ahead and do whatever we need to do permanently when that street's redone.
That sounds good. I appreciate your patience.
So if we do that, we'll get that fixed basically in the next month.
Yes.
I am.
Yes.
Yeah. We started 3 years ago, buying a house, doing one house a year, as a family, my wife and I, and my son, which is wife, our daughter-in-law. We get together on the weekends, completely redo them.
Yeah.
Of course, down to their studs, back up, replace the skirt, all sorts of stuff.
Fun project.
Yeah, it is, and it's great family.
So I'll give Alan,
It's great
I
family.
certainly do appreciate your patience and allowing us to
Any
go
suggestions,
forward
we'll go ahead and have you
with
Right.
make changes to that project.
We'll work on it.
I didn't
Right
know
in.
it wasn't.
No, I know Craig well, so I'll
Yeah.
give Craig a call and let him know what
Just
we're
be on
doing.
My
contact.
son's off baseball.
And if you want to be on something,
I know where he lives.
He knows how to get a hold of
You can't
it.
escape that.
Yeah.
Let's see, I've got him on 6-speed dial right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go to Alan and see.
Thank you.
Right, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time, thanks.
Thank you.
Craig, I'll let you know what's going on.
Okay, all right.
Give you a call.
All right,
that we had
thanks.
problems with.
Uh-huh.
And he has water coming off of Light Street into his yard going into his basement. The crown of the road rolls it and everything goes that way. So he would like us to do something to stop that so he can fix the basement.
Let me know. That's it.
And we'll put Alan on because that's part of the project on lights that we wanted. But what can we do temporary with it?
Doing a curve like we did down,
But we can't get blacktop anymore.
huh?
Well, we get laptop, whether we get somebody to do it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on.
Okay.
Mr. Ben Hedrick, please.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start out with our new employee. She will be starting on the 26th. She was gonna, Dave and I met with her last Tuesday night, well, Char was actually even here too after. She was out doing other things, but she popped in too, so,
Decorated.
we talked to her and stuff, and she did all the paperwork and stuff, so I think we're good to go. She told me she was gonna put in with her employer, she wanted to give them a 2-week notice, which I told her that's exactly what I would expect if she was leaving us to go somewhere else.
Right.
At least a 2-week notice, so, as of, when we talked to her last, it was gonna be the 26th when she's gonna start, so, see, I think she'll work out okay, or time's gonna tell.
Yes. The drug and the test and the fingerprint, she's got the paperwork to go get them done before she starts, and we've already got it through insurance that she's okay with that.
Yeah, she's going next Friday, I believe, to get the fingerprint and drug test. So we should have results hopefully before the 26th. when she starts. Next big thing I really have is, we sent the letters to the property owners down there for the wells, and the one didn't respond, but the one that is probably the most crucial, it's got the 3 things did, and they are not willing to do that. So, now, it's gonna be up to council what we're gonna have to do. If we're gonna have to do something eminent domain, we're gonna have to think about getting moving on it, because it's not gonna be a short-term, Mark knows it won't be a short-term deal. You're probably looking at at least a year to 2 years before you're gonna get it done. Do I wanna go that route? No, but I don't think we've got any option. I think our options is, we contracted all the property owners, or all the farmers and stuff down through there. Not one of them, I shouldn't say not one. One didn't respond back to me, but that's because he goes to our church and he talked to me after church that one day.
Nobody else wanted to sell.
But nobody else wanted to sell, and none of them wanted to sell on the ground. So I don't know. Like I said, the one thing I really need more than anything is to have to think about doing eminent domain. But also, I guess we have to take under consideration that, we're obligated to the people of the village to supply them with water, and if something happens and we sit back and wait, and that well goes down, that one is having issues, and it takes us 2 years to get it into the domain. I mean, hopefully it'll last that long. Right now, it seems to be doing fine, but we don't know. We know that there's issues, and it could go anytime. So I
And
guess it's
we've
going to
been
be up to
trying
council.
this for a year.
They've been trying to good neighbor approach
Yeah.
for over a
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
I think, Mark said something previously that, if we're gonna do eminent domain, we need to make sure we got a little bit of room for future growth.
That's exactly what I told Carrie. I said, I don't want to just take enough ground too.
Right.
No, we don't want to have to do this.
I hate
10, 15.
thought,
Right.
I got the estimation of the property values for that land, like directly behind us. And Betty suggested 12 acres, because that would at least get us 3 deeper wells, which is what we need to replace what we just had. It was $8,046 per acre. 12 acres is about 100,200 is what kind of the estimation off of this website numbers off that property.
You have a picture of that lot behind us?
Not here. I did when I had this up, and it didn't print that field.
My memory recalls is when we had Lloyd convinced to do it, but that's like a triangle back in there.
There's about 74 acres there on that
Yeah.
triangle, and then he's got other land all around it, but that triangle is 74.8, which we only need 12.
We have the funds.
Yes. And savings for that, so.
What's the process look, I know Mark, you've been through it before, I assume it's attorneys.
You have to get Nicodemus to start rolling on the paperwork, do the legal side of it first, then it has to come back to us to do it, and we have to have a public hearing for the need, show the need.
But in a public hearing, we can also say, we made this offer, we have made asked them to
Everything's
do this.
documented, yes.
And everything before the offer with the engineers
That's-
and
yes.
the EPA
Right.
and all the
So as long as
legwork.
we're well documented, that's what
For sure.
I'll make a motion that we start with the eminent domain proceedings.
All right, motion on the floor by Dave Price to make eminent domain proceedings go forward.
Everybody's like, am I up for election this year?
Ron
believe me, I
Martin
don't care about
seconds the
No,
motion.
sure.
And I know that's in all our
Nobody-
minds, because we don't want to do this, but
Right.
we have to do this for this village
You're right.
to survive.
We do. All right, second by Rob Martin. Any other discussion of the motion?
I just hate the fact that we try to be good neighbors, we've been removed.
I'm
So-
right there with you, Dave. Yeah, that.
We're in a tough community, area,
Yeah,
community, they just
absolutely.
don't want to budge on nothing.
But like you said, Rod, we do have the
it's-
responsibility of looking out for.
And it's
We have to
come
maintain
to the last,
infrastructure.
to the point we have to do something.
Yeah.
And the same way with the school, and the same way with our property tax and our income tax, all that. We got to the point where we gotta do it, we gotta do it.
The wells are over 40 years old, correct?
Yes.
The one's probably 50.
Over 50
And we
years old.
have looked into alternatives to
Yeah.
taking land.
Yes.
For a year?
Yeah.
All right, so a motion and a second. Any other discussion? And a vote for? Looks like we're all in favor. And now we all do a heavy,
Yeah.
anything else,
I
Mr.
think that's
Hedger?
really actually all I had in that.
We're
in
still
that
waiting
part.
on the back.
So,
You got any upgrades on the salt barn?
don't have, we're just gonna, RJ and I, we're gonna temporarily do it for right now. We're gonna put that, we're gonna, before winter, we're gonna dig down and put another support to help alleviate that till we see what we can come up with as far as,
Do you have salt contracts for this?
yeah, I've got salt already ordered.
Question, what is the young lady's name for hire?
Jennifer Hughes.
Thank you.
I think she prefers to be called Jenny.
We asked her to come tonight to a meeting, the council thing.
Her daughter's sick.
Now her daughter's like that.
And tobacco?
We discussed that just before you got here.
I know, I got hell of a way to keep.
Yeah, right now, he didn't get back with me today, but he sent me a text saying that he would get back with me as soon as possible on where they were at on it, but, he also did tell me that, you know, if we need a hoe, they would make sure that we had it.
Cause you know, in a couple months, we're gonna be needing a hoe.
Well, we need, I told him when I talked to him, I said, hey, you know, I need to know if this thing's not gonna be here in the next couple of weeks. We've got some stuff we need to get done, and I don't wanna wait till cold weather to do this thing. So I said, he said, I will take care of it, we'll take care of it.
What was his response when you told him that? I mean, we've waited since.
We'll take care of it, he's what he
Okay.
said, they will supply us with one of the rental units up there or whatever to get till
Okay.
it comes.
So
If
do we
have-
need to go ahead and rent one now? to
Well,
get
I don't think we need,
projects done?
I think what he's gonna do is he's going to, well, let's see what he says when he gets back with me. He was checking with the uppers to find out if they had any updates. He sent me an update when I was on vacation, an email. And I saw it then, and they were thinking that it should be delivered sometime first September, but it's just like everything else. You know, we're back to this stuff
It's
again.
everything, it's
Well, no, it's not, and it's not only them. I mean, I get this, everything I order,
Oh, yeah.
it's the same thing. So, I mean, it's frustrating
Mhm.
The slides
because
is 11 months.
you get in a situation where you really need stuff, and sometimes you just can't get it.
My whole issue with this process is that they assured us it was gonna be here at this time.
Mhm.
We could go ahead and sell our backhoe, which we did.
Right.
So now we are left with nothing, and if they have to supply something, I really don't see us having to pay for it.
No, I would think.
They need to supply us
They need to
something.
supply it, right.
Without billing us, because
I like
this is,
it.
Yeah.
this is crazy.
I like it.
And I understand the same as everybody else does, but, you know, at some point, I mean, how long are we gonna let them push it off? Oh, it's 2023, we'll have it the first part of 2024,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, and if they said,
It took 11
we
months
will
to get.
deliver at a certain date, and then we sold our backhoe, I mean, those are valid points, so.
Yeah, they had said that, you know, they were relatively certain that it would be here 1st of June,
Yeah.
and so we went ahead and put the backhoe.
Yeah.
That's what I told him, he goes, I know, he said it,
Hi, Fred.
Sorry.
so.
Come on in.
Well, the only thing, Betty, and I bring to council that if you need the backhoe, don't have to worry about going through the process of contacting.
Yeah, I'll
six
just,
people to go get a
yeah, if we
backhoe.
need it, we'll just
No.
get it. I'll just
I think
tell
we're
them
all
to
in
get it down
agreement
there.
that if we need it, go get it.
And then we'll work out whatever has to be worked out from that one.
Cause it is what it is.
Right.
Yes.
We'll do it. I mean, but anyways, they've been real cooperative. The only thing is, I think, you know,
They're suppliers, Mercy, it's everything. I mean, we ordered some vehicles for work, same thing, only they got canceled. They're like, sorry, we can't even get them, they canceled.
Yeah.
The order out.
well, I've heard other people say that they're getting stuff
Sure.
just complete. They're just telling them, they're canceling the orders because they can't supply what they're wanting.
Right.
But at least they haven't sent that to us yet,
Yes.
so.
Does anyone else have questions for Ben at this point? I'm just gonna mention the whole light on the tower thing, you know, I'm gonna keep on asking about that, Ben.
Yeah, they're.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just a little bug in your ear.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really found any that I thought solar would, then we'd be bright enough to
I
do it.
even
And
stopped you, I said I would love to.
I thought about maybe trying to find something with some pretty high candle power and maybe put it down on the ground and shine it up. But I don't know. I thought about putting it on the fence, but then I got looking at the fence, and I think the fence is so close to the tower, I don't know if we can get a good angle
Okay.
on that to make that work, so that's gonna be it. So I don't know, it's just,
Well, I wrote it down and made a note this time, so I will also help look for that. Mr. Fred Estadio, are you observing, or do you have something you would like to bring to
A
council?
few things I'd like to bring up. to
Okay,
council.
well, let's go with it.
I think you all know where I live, 331 Elm Street. The road is not wide enough to have parking on both sides. In the 200 block it is, 300 block it's not. There's a no parking sign about every 40 feet along the fence where the football field is at. The signs are so faded you can't even read them. One is completely, you can't even tell if there was ever lettering on it. I'd like to see those get replaced. I'd also like to see possibly resident-only parking signs on our side of the street. I've had cars pull into my grass, I've had to put up railroad ties to keep cars out of my grass. I've had cars block my driveway. I've got pictures of these. Had a lady standing there in my yard smoking cigarettes, throwing her cigarette butts into my yard. We just haven't. I knew when I bought the house there was going to be sporting events, and I accepted that. I didn't expect people to pull into my grass and literally block my driveway. That's what I'd kind of like to see. And those are mostly the ones that are from away teams. They're trying to get close to it. But we did have an issue with the volunteer day when they were cleaning the bleachers and everything. There was 15 cars parked all along that fence. I asked Mrs. Buckley, since she was organizing it, if she would please have the people move. She said, "Oh, no problem, I understand." She moved. She asked people, nobody moved. Matter of fact, more cars. Because when I asked her, it was 12, and 15 ended up being there. So I saw one guy pulling in, and I said, "Would you please, if you don't mind, not parking?" I said, "It makes it hard to get cars back out of our driveway." He went ballistic. "I'm going to look you up," and everything. I took that as a threat. And I said, "Fine, I'll just call the police." And I did. And then when he came back out after dropping his kids off, he's like, "I've already looked you up. I know who you are." And he's taking video of me as he's pulling away. Now, this is some of the things we're dealing with on that section of the street. I'd like to see the signs replaced and possibly resident-only parking signs in front of in that block. The other thing I have is totally separate from it, but kind of. The school zone. In front of the school, where the cornfield starts after the school as you're heading out of town. That's where the light is when you're entering town. It's also the light for the opposite direction, 1,000, 1,200 feet away maybe. So when you enter in, if you're heading out of town, you see the school zone sign, there's no light flashing. You've got to look 1,200 feet or so up the road to the other end to see a little 2-inch bulb. There should be a light at this end. Really, I don't understand why there's even a light flashing there. No kids walk there. Every kid that walks from the bigger school walks up Oak Street. There should be flashing lights and there. Also in front of the little school. These are our littlest kids that are going to school there. There are walkers there. There are signs that say school zone, but there's no flashing lights there.
I wonder if it's because that is a county road that runs out through there. No?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
that is.
The road belongs to the township.
Yeah, Hamburg Road.
Where does it switch?
Oh, Hamburg, that, oh, I was thinking
Where
you were
on
talking
Hamburg
about
does it
Little-
switch?
Little-
On Hamburg,
Yeah.
right at the school where you see the asphalt change.
Okay, well, Family Dollar's a Main Street address, and the
Yeah.
sign is before Family Dollar.
But that's
Going
what,
At this end.
but that's what I'm wondering, Fred,
Yeah.
if it, because it's a county road, if they require different signage
Right.
than they do in the village.
Jeremiah upset that up, didn't he?
Yeah. The engineers think that, yeah.
And out on School Street,
Mm-hmm.
the road belongs to the township to the stop sign of Lutz, is it Lutz, right? And the side the roller rink and restaurants on is township, the other side is village.
Well, I don't know who's responsible for it. Maybe the school's actually responsible for it. I don't know. But if someone could please look into who is responsible and ask them to put some type of lights up. I think it's a safety issue for the kids, the ones that are walking.
So would you be interested in joining me at the school board meeting?
Sure. When
I'll
is the
look
next
up the
one?
date. I think it's the 21st, but I want to double check that. 6 p.m. the 21st. It's the next school board meeting, so, you know, that may be an option to present to them as well.
So we'll meet with you.
So back to his original question about the resident only parking.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
Yeah, I was
you
gonna ask-
about-
I was gonna ask if we can do that on a public street, taxpayer.
Didn't we talk about that on Lutz?
I think we did.
And it came back to we're not
It's,
allowed.
and I tell you what, and I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah,
And just
oh,
like,
sure.
just like for football games and stuff, you know, they all put cones and stuff down through there. Legally,
They can't.
legally, if you put them there and somebody comes and moves them and parks there, you can't stop them because it's a public street.
But we can replace the no
We
parking
can
signs
put
on
no
the
parking
other
signs
side,
if they're,
right? That's
now I don't know if
would be
we
the
put
huge
them up or if the school
Yeah,
put those
don't
up.
put them up.
Huh?
Don't.
The ones on the fence with the school?
Yeah, they're like
Okay.
every 30, 40 feet, and you can't read them.
So I'll make a motion to replace the
Right, the
no
word.
parking sign. Yeah, of course, well, yeah.
You
It'll
just
probably
do
take
that.
a year to get.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that company, I have ordered
Good.
stuff from them, and it
I'll second that.
normally doesn't take too
Okay,
long for them.
motion on the floor to replace the signs by
no
Mr.
parking
Hamilton, and a
signs.
second by Mr. Price. Any other discussion?
Shouldn't need a motion because it's just.
Yeah, I'll just go down and do that. I'll
Okay,
just,
cool.
I'll go down and count, see how many signs is there, and I'll just call and order them tomorrow, and when they come in, I'll send RJ down and put them up.
I have a question. The county makes their own signs. Can you buy them from them?
We buy them from that sign company out of.
We buy ours through Osborne.
Osborne
Okay.
signs. Yeah,
Just thought.
they have, I know they have a sign shop in there, but they don't, yeah, they generally.
recondition signs also.
Yeah, they generally won't make them for the other municipalities.
I feel bad for your frustrations, and I feel bad, like, the last couple times that we've kind of communicated through the phone, I've been out of town or out of the village, and, you know, I wish there was a way we could be more helpful with the public road and the access to your home, and the fact that people
Now,
are
parking in these
not
driveways,
considerate.
sure.
I wish we could be more helpful with that, with people not being considerate. I don't know how we can.
I know with, like when the sheriff goes to the games, they'll put cones along right there.
Block it.
Yeah.
Right,
They do
open
block.
ones.
What about the other end too?
Yes, they block
Yeah.
both.
Do they block
They
both
block
ends?
the
I don't
upper
know.
half and the bottom.
That's been done 20 years ago.
Really?
But people still drive around them.
Yeah.
Now, there is another option, we could widen that out, but your neighbor won't like it.
Which one?
Next door, restaurant.
Greg?
Greg.
Do it. Sorry.
Well, you might not like it either because you lose about a third of your yard.
What's the mow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Because the road actually goes over, a good 15
well,
feet.
there, where that pole's at, is guaranteed is in the village right away, where that, the pole's at, but it.
So we're starting with the signs and going to a school board meeting. Does that sound like a good start
That sounds like a good
to help
start.
you for this evening?
Yes.
Okay?
It's 50.
Fred, my suggestion would be is that if they park in front of your driveway, I call the sheriff,
I have.
and they won't come out and do anything?
They do, but they won't ticket them. They'll go in and say, have them make an announcement or whatever.
So they won't
but-
tow them around.
No.
Just please move your vehicle.
Yeah.
Well,
And I'm fine with if they do come, but if they don't come, I got a car. The least it's been is this far, but
I
I
can't
got a
believe they
whole
won't
car
ticket them or-
blocking. You got 3 wide driveway. So my wife is coming home.
Yeah,
and she's kind
this
of
is
coming
private
this side.
property. Sure.
Right.
Well, and you may have a medical need or need to get in and out of work or anything, so.
That's one thing they can't do
Yeah.
is block your driveway.
You know,
It's
and I have told people that walking elderly people in, hey, I got a close spot. If you want to get your car moved up for the elderly person, that's fine. You can park in my driveway. Just don't block it.
Yeah. I hear your frustration.
I know.
Hopefully we can
Tom
go
Sherwood did
forward.
the same thing, if people want to park in their driveway, they'll let them,
Yeah.
people that need to be close, they'll let them park in their driveway.
Well, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, or quietly leave whenever. At this point, we ready to go forward with committees?
Yep.
You feel good about the start of the signs and?
Absolutely, thank
Okay,
you, I
great.
appreciate you listening to me.
Oh, I appreciate you coming tonight. All right, for committees, Mr. Banoy will not be presenting the budget. Oh, well, we can go Park and Recreation first, sorry.
Okay. We have some stuff coming up, of course, with the Amanda Fall Festival. We are changing it from 4 days to 3 days. We are doing away with lift days. It'll just be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the 27th through the 29th. We have had requests for trash receptacles, so we are looking into the cardboard, like you see at all the festivals and stuff, the cardboard, and then the bags.
Didn't somebody drop something off last year and they would put up the garage?
It fell through.
I could get one. They were
Okay,
out
well, we
back.
can double check.
Okay, we will definitely double check on that.
Suzanne, that was 27th, 29th of October, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry.
Does Brown have any receptacles they can provide?
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
We could, what we did last year is brought up any of the totes that we still had up at the garage and put them back here so you guys can throw away in. Was what we can do again this year.
'Cause they've been pretty good about providing them when we need them.
Yeah, I mean, and we just need a couple, you know, just someplace for, you know, otherwise the trash ends up on the street.
I'm almost positive there was cardboard
Great.
ones dropped off here last year and I thought they put it up there.
Okay, we need to check on that. If not, we can get a bundle of 10 for $63. And that way we would have them for the next 5 years. Of course, trash bags are gonna be another $10 or $12 to whatever, we have trash bags. So, 42 gallons, okay, cool, don't do that then. All right, and then of course, some of these are all-day events, are all evening events. People have nowhere to go to the bathroom. So we are looking into a porta-john. The handicap units was suggested, but the problem we're running into is it's, of course, more money. But it's half the capacity. It's 30 gallons versus the regular unit is 70 gallons. So,
We have to be ADA compliant on this stuff.
I'm sorry, what?
Do we have to be ADA compliant on this stuff?
I would think.
I mean, it would be a very nice gesture.
Right.
Is our facility ADA approved?
The building here
I
is.
mean, if one need to use the restroom here, I'll be here. So, but,
Well, we need to have some kind of posted, something posted where a restaurant is.
This place is turning into a madhouse.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm thinking we would rather be up, even if we just did one regular unit. 200 for the regular unit, 250 for the handicapped. Like I said, I'm leaning more towards a regular unit of 200 that has twice the capacity.
Have that much in donations? That's an outside, that's,
It's a park and rec thing, so it can be covered under parks and rec.
We're getting a lot of stuff donated. Just don't know what we want to do there. Thursday night is, we are actually combining Wednesday night and Thursday night. So we're doing game night, the artwork, and the vendor fair, all on Thursday night. We would need from just before the, just after, post office, gas station, to John Street. Closed down, the event itself is from 5 to 7:30. We would need it closed down approximately 4 to get the vendors and the games set up by 5, and then we would have clean up and out of here by 8. So 4 to 8, Main Street. And that's, and that, as far as, yeah, Thursday night, so closure. Friday night, we don't have to have any closures because it's all gonna happen over here in the, yeah.
Parking lot?
That parking lot over there, yeah, that, thank you.
We're doing the pie baking contest, the chili cook-off. Those are like an entry fee for the chili cook-off, and of course that goes to Dwayne's, the Della's Elves, and the proceeds from that goes to Della's Elves. The pie competition is, I mean, it's all donations. And then anything left over, we're gonna ask that they bring 2 pies. One for the competition, or the contest, and then one to sell. So we are going to, all pies that come in, they're gonna be sectioned off, piece of pie is $2, we're gonna try to make money on that. So we need to start making a little bit of money back. And of course, the vendors are $25 to rent space. So that's coming back in. The person, Sherry, that is doing game night, she's saying she really doesn't think it's gonna cost anything, but it may be $100 for supplies and that kind of stuff to get stuff going. Dwayne has taken care of all of the chili stuff, that's all being donated. All the awards and everything are being donated, so we don't need any money there, but we do need, for the tent round. And last year, we got the 20 by 20, and we would like to get that one again this year, cost us $485.
And this is all coming out of Parks Fund? How much money is in the Parks
It
Fund?
was Parks and Rec, so we had,
How much is budgeted in Parks?
5,000 for the year, and I don't know how much we've spent so far, because we had, the slide stuff came out of that, the old donations for repair. So, I can check, but there's I know there's enough there to cover that. Okay. And then Saturday, we start out with the Halloween parade at 4. The route will be from the school, we'll start at the school, down Kirby to John Street to Main Street, Main Street back to School Street, back to the school. So we would need to have that blocked off at approximately 4 o'clock. No more than half an hour, I would say. Right. I mean, it's not a huge parade, it's just, and all of that is being donated as far as awards, except for the sashes. We need to we're getting done on the sashes. I think it's gonna cost us $30 for the awards. So, game night, trash containers we may not need. The ribbons I'm gonna take care of, and the sashes, we're looking at approximately $800. For the yeah, that's the biggest part. Like it's the rest, I mean, because we don't know exactly what some of this stuff is gonna cost until we get, I don't know how much she's gonna need for game night. She may not need anything, because she's getting a lot of it donated.
Do any of the vendor fees and whatnot come back to the fund?
Vendor
Yes.
fees comes back, we put it back into the fund for next year's.
Do you know roughly how much we've gotten in the past?
I think last year we got like $200, something like that. So, I mean,
There's
at least covers
some
some of it,
offset.
yes.
Well, this is gonna be an occurring thing. The budget needs to be adjusted for another $1,000. If this is gonna cost $1,000 a year.
Well, was it already included in the 5,000?
Yes.
The original park budget was meant for equipment.
The original park fund was, the park line was for park flags, flowers, any event, any other thing, so it was a lump thing in that. Which we haven't really paid a lot of flowers, we get, they go to the Menards and stuff, and then we get our rebates, we use that for flags, and flowers and stuff, so we don't have to,
Well, I just wanna make sure we
So we're
don't stretch.
offsetting.
I don't wanna stretch the park budget out where there's no money.
Do we typically have a surplus at the end of the fiscal year?
Not, but it's just appropriated in a certain amount, if it's general fund money.
Do we ever
Yeah.
normally use up the appropriated amount?
No, not typically, unless we have a major project, but no, last few years we have not had any to use.
Well, I'll make a motion then to authorize Parks Committee to spend up to $800 for tent rental, porta potty, etc. for the fall festival.
Motion on the floor to approve up to $800 for the Fall Festival of 2022.
Out of the parks.
Out of the Parks line.
Thank you. No, I appreciate the,
There's a fine line between these and general, designated general revenues.
okay.
Out of the Parks fund.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any other discussion at this point? And a vote for. Looks like we're all in favor. Thank you for that presentation. Thank you. And budget, I'm so appreciative Rod is gonna present tonight.
Parks are all with, anyway, Dwayne is.
Yes.
I didn't realize that until this evening. In the budget committee meeting, we talked about hiring a new employee and starting them out at $17 an hour. And after the 90 days, would make her, or that person, $17.54. That would be $1 less than what RJ is making. We also talked about a 3% raise starting January for the next 5 years. And we talked about incentives to get certification for training for weeds, mosquitoes, taking Benny's job when Benny retires, his certificate and working on the water plant. Every time that if there's an opportunity for one of our employees to better themselves by getting more certificates, we would offer them more money once they got certificates because we know Benny's gonna leave one day, he is gonna work till he's 105. And, we discussed, Benny's job, James' job, and Keith's job. We'll need somebody somewhere along the line to take those over, or hopefully those people stay with us for a while. The insurance, we talked about insurance on 80/20 insurance. It was going to cost the village $100,000 a year for 4 people. And the payout was going to be $1,400 for the employee with a deductible or $2,000 to $5,000 deductible. And costing the village $100,000 for 4 people was a little extreme. We talked about giving a monthly stipend for doctor fees, insurance for the employees, $200 a month for 4 employees, that'd be $9,600. So we did talk about that. There is money. We are saving money because we're not paying out so much because we don't have so many employees. We have some extra money. We all felt at that meeting that handing that money out right now is not a good deal. We all discussed that we thought we ought to give our employees incentives to help us. We would help them.
Will you be clear on how much for the incentives? I don't think you mentioned that amount.
25 cents
Per
per
hour.
spray weeds, 25 cents if they get the mosquito.
Yeah.
And then the water and the sewer would be
And
recommended depending on what they.
That's what, depending if, let's say Ben retires in spring and he retires, he has a,
Water license.
water license, and he is village administrator. Is he gonna get one of them up after, the first year, whatever? But Benny's getting paid for water license, maybe he was gonna keep that for several years. But there is money that we pay Benny, Keith, and James monthly that we pay them. That would be incentives for our employees to,
So you're thinking not an hourly fee, but just that lump sum a month?
if
If they get the certification.
If they get certifications. I know money's tight right now everywhere, but I just can't hand it out there. You know, we gotta take care of ourselves, and we need people to work with us, and they work with us
Yeah.
to get things to help us out. We will help them on an hourly rate.
No, I think the incentivizing is the way to go.
The 3% averages about anywhere from $53, $54, 50 cents a year up to about 60 cents a year, depending on as it
Well,
goes.
with the
It
cost
gets
of
about 2 more
inflation,
pennies,
3%
so.
still a
So
pay cut.
by the time the 5 years is over, they'll be in 20s, and that's even if they get their 25 cents per spraying the mosquitoes.
Plus a potential lump sum for other certifications.
I think that's one of the key things there with the incentivizing for the certifications is obviously we don't have to hire anybody else to use our equipment to do our stuff. We can do it in-house. So,
I created an ordinance based off of the recommendation. It's 3% increase for the next 5 years. That is to start at the beginning of each year, so January 1st. And then the $200 a month stipend. Stipends are taxable, so they won't get that full amount, but it is not pensionable. But that would be again immediately upon the ordinance. That's what I put in the ordinance. It's up to you guys. But I typed up the ordinance based on the recommendations.
So you're actually going to sell the people of the village of Amanda that you're going to give each employee $9,600 a year.
No,
That's for the total.
That's a total of 4
Total amount
employees.
for 4 people.
Okay, so that would be how much a year?
So 200 times 12, that's
14.
$2,400 before taxes, but it gets taxed per employee. So by the
Is
time
there
it gets-
any, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
There's only 2 types of stipends, not really stipend. There's a stipend of this kind that's taxable, and then there's a kind where they submit, we hold the money and then they submit, and it's not taxable that way. But, this way, they could use that and buy themselves Aflac insurance, or they can use it to pay for their doctor bills they've already accumulated, or if they're going to buy their medicine with it, one way or the other, they can use it. The reason it's taxable is because
Because it's income.
it's income, and since they're not given a receipt in lieu of to us, because we're giving them the money themselves, that's why it's taxable.
All right, so I know Carroll's basically the same size as this, and Baltimore's a little bit bigger. What do they do for their employees?
I sent out a mass thing to all the people in Clerkston, Ohio, to get their insurance thing. I have a whole folder full of them. There was 2 or 3 of them that done the medical stipend. Some of them paid 100% of their insurance. Some of them paid maybe 20s. But there was 3 or 4 of them that done the $250, $200 stipend. Who was it? Was it you? Somebody said that what their daughter got for her stipend was $200.
I would personally like to see, so the 3% increase in wage, I think is great, and the one employee we have now is just fantastic. But was there any discussion about tying that to performance evaluations or anything? So
Yes.
maybe if we have a less than stellar employee, they're not getting the same as the stellar employee.
So here's the thing, if we enact this by law, where there's a 3% increase in wages per year, you would have to change the wording, that it's based on their performance evaluation. So this resolution would have to be basically rewritten.
Or added.
Yeah, and I brought up one thing. If you guys remember back about 2011, they tried the whole Senate Bill 5 thing.
I don't know.
So they tried, it was basically a union busting measure. It was a right to work measure. And what had happened is
the powers that be that were trying to push this Senate Bill 5 wanted raises to go from basically non-contractual, so you strike it from your contract, everything was based on performance evaluation. However, they really had no structured formula for people or organizations to use as a performance evaluation. So basically, if your employer really didn't like Jeff, yeah, well, his performance evaluation was so great, so he's not going to get a straight.
All they had to do was unsatisfactory.
But it can be done. So I've done it and seen it, been part of it being done both ways, right? Where it's just a flat, you get 3% and everybody gets it. And I've also been part of where it was that, and then we switched to performance evaluation. And we had to build. No, I'm not saying that wasn't a lot of work, but we had to build in there actual, tangible, quantifiable items, you know, and whether it's frequency of call-offs or work orders completed on time within a time frame or things like that. I mean, no, I'm not saying there's not some work there, but I mean, it
I
can
think
be
it was
done.
still brought up during the meeting that the 3% was a cost of living regardless across the board, but they were still gonna do the evaluations. Now, if evaluations, there was issues that could be just marks against the person and to eventually get rid of them or whatever, but it wouldn't be a mark. That's why the incentives was getting certifications and doing things that's gonna benefit the village. That's why you guys decided to.
Yeah, because we didn't discuss any of this being mandatory. This is strictly on the employer. If they decide to get the certification, great. If they decide not to, then they don't get that extra 25 cents, and we continue paying somebody else to do the job. Our employees should work. So, but I think if we do enact this and we say everybody gets 3%, we've got a less extended employee, then there will be hard pressed to get 3%.
Although it'd be impossible to not get 3%. That's it. By enacting that, if we have a less than stellar employee,
We're still getting.
they're still getting the 3%.
That happens, I'm gonna be on it.
But the paperwork and documentation that you're gonna have to do is gonna be substantial.
Well, I mean, if I write somebody up, I'm gonna write them up. I'm gonna make documentation of what I wrote them up for and what they, you know, after so many, I think then I can get back to council and say, hey, this person's not doing it. And
Well, hopefully it doesn't come.
if everybody would be as good as RJ, I'm telling you, that way, for a young guy, he is very energetic and he goes, if I ask him to go do something, it's done. Just like I mentioned, painting that curb over there, next day he painted that curb.
Well, I've managed union shops for the last 12 years, and I've seen the gamut, right, of unfortunately the RJs are the unicorns.
Don't
you
get me
know?
wrong, I was a boss in there in Lancaster when I was working, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've been leading for 23 years, and you're dead on.
Yeah, it is. There's more that's not like that than that are.
Right.
Can I get some clarity on the employee evaluations with regard to the 3%? Are we able to include that?
Can be, you just have a sentence right here.
And it's on my list of things to ask the service committee if they have any edits for our employee evaluation revisions that I gave you all last month. But I would like to update those.
Yeah, I think we should come together as a committee and update those and with Ben's input.
Right.
Absolutely. And yeah, that would work, the possibility of 3% raise is tied.
Based on a good performance evaluation.
So that would be changed to up to
That's not a
3%
fee, that's-
increase.
Well, it is up to you guys to count the voting to change that.
Well,
That's why you do readings.
So Ron, now, guys, I gotta ask the city budget because this was tied to our service employees. I'd really like to step it up too, because this is a very good step. So I would think that if there would be any changes, corrections, I would prefer them to Ron and some people.
The young lady we're hired, she has 3 months to perform to keep her job. And after the first year, her incentive is for the 3 months to keep that job, to get the raise. So I think we're covered there.
If she doesn't,
And if she doesn't perform up to satisfaction, we have 90 days to let her go.
Right.
And we have to have documentation if that happens.
right.
Not, God forbid.
I hope that don't happen.
Yeah.
I don't think,
I think you need to speak in
Yes.
yeah, that's what.
Yes.
I am very confident that everyone will,
Thank you. And then you, yeah.
will see the value in this new employee, and I believe it will be very comparable to the existing.
And please don't take me bringing this up as a knock on the new employee or the existing employee. It's just, I'm relating this to my day-to-day experience where I've done it multiple ways, and I have seen a benefit to putting in performance evaluations tying to the raises.
Yeah.
And I've also, I've seen low performers don't get their raises, and well, sometimes they just continue to be low performers. But hopefully that's not an issue with neither of these employees, and potentially any future employees. Who knows?
We have to get good care of it.
You never know.
But on the insurance thing, I think we got the raises, the extras pretty well under wrap. We lose our income tax, we will not be able to afford students anything. As I remember when we was getting days off instead of raises, because we didn't have any money in the So before we enact paying for insurances and stuff, all it takes is one vote and that income tax is gone. So we need to forethought a little bit about that.
Well, I think at that point, then you would just
It's kind of hard
what do
when
you call it?
you enact something. to
amend,
pull it out.
all you need to do is amend it
I get it.
to eliminate it. Because you amend the ordinance, if the ordinance is stating you're doing it, then what you have to do to change your ordinance is to amend it.
The reason why we're
Or
talking
recall.
about insurance is
Right.
our full-time employees have asked for it, and we can't afford the full coverage.
And if they couldn't afford
And
it.
they can't afford full.
No, but we are trying to do what we can with
Yeah.
raises. But yeah, the insurance is a tough thing. It's really expensive, but
Joe, take care.
To me,
So let me ask you this, when you talk about losing the income tax, is that something that we have to put up?
No, it's.
not if it's
But it
less
can be
than
appealed.
1%.
Right, so that was what it would take to get rid of it, would be
So
something to appeal.
They have to appeal it, they have to carry a petition and put it
Okay.
back on the ballot.
Secondly, I asked Carrie in this budget meeting, and I just asked her a little bit ago. So, she's got a paper here somewhere, of our inside millage, which is 2.4 mils.
Which is our land taxes.
Yes, which is our land taxes. So I asked her, I know anything over 10 mils inside, and maybe you can answer this, Mark. Anything over 10 mils has to be sent out to the public for vote. If we're only raising 10 or 2.4 mils right now, what do we need to do to increase our inside millage?
Well, first of all, you'd have to get a tax, what do they call it, where they come in and do the survey on
Oh,
the amount of funds that you
You'd have to
use.
contact the auditor and have the
Yeah.
commissioners do, I
Do an
think, I don't
evaluation
know,
or,
we've never
uh,
done it, so.
appraisal.
I think
Something
we invite
on-
Commissioner
Appraisal, yes.
Fix here next
Okay.
month.
because the reason I'm asking is, on that paper, it said we are getting $30,000.
That's all we get from land taxes, yeah.
So that's $15,000 a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that money that we're bringing in, where does that money go to?
It goes directly into the general fund.
Okay, so the general fund would be our savior if that income tax was repealed.
The reason we got the income tax is because the 30,000 wasn't enough to maintain us.
Maintain the
Right.
streets and stuff.
Currently, the income tax, 27% of that goes into the general fund, which
Right.
is helping build that, plus we're gonna have to buy these land, things like that too, but, we're also to maintain the regular general fund
Yeah.
funds.
I gotta
That
make sure
gone,
everybody knows
you've
that.
lost it. There's 66% of what we spend out every year is income tax money out of the, I think it's 66%.
So
Out
on
of general
that-
fund. 100% of our street repair and maintenance is all income tax, and I forget what the percentage of the regular street fund is.
Because we don't have a street levy.
Right,
Yeah.
so on that 2.4 mil inside millage, do they update that every year, or have we been?
They just
getting-
give us a total every year of how
Okay.
much we're getting.
Okay, and how much has that increased over the last 10 years?
It's basically been the same all these years.
Okay.
Well, they
Because
sure
it's-
increased my property.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, because.
Well, we don't get it all. We get some, the state gets
Yeah.
some, the county gets some,
The schools get some.
yeah, the
Yeah, but if they're
townships.
taking more, our
Yeah.
percentage should go up.
Right,
I would
Yeah, it's
think
not
we
much.
should
It's not
get-
much. If it is, it's only a few $100. It's
Yeah.
not much.
so yeah, that's why I'm asking.
That's
because-
just the county commissioners telling us how much
Right,
to
because-
expect.
but it's
An
based on.
estimate.
It's based
Still
on
don't
old
know.
evaluations.
Yes.
Because I know that the county, again,
Yeah.
just did a triennial this year.
Yeah.
And my property value on my house went from $102,000
Yeah.
to $150,000.
Mhm.
Yeah.
With
I think it
sight
was like
unseen.
29 something last year,
Right.
so it's not much if
So-
it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
so that's what I'm
yeah.
saying, if
Right.
we're using
Yeah,
that inside
I-
village,
I
but we're
want
getting
it
that in
too.
old
I do too.
valuations, maybe we
Yeah.
need to do an update on that and see where we stand, see if there's any more.
Like I said, it was all on, this was all before my time, I wouldn't even know. We'd have to look into that. Like I said, that's in the future to look into.
Yeah,
I'd think
That's not,
it's best to look into sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
I think the future is here.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just wanting everybody to be aware that, we're looking at insurance, and I know the other is, I'm a firm believer that we gotta pay our people a decent wage, and we need to get them close to $20 an hour as soon as we can.
Right.
But the insurance, we can't implement something and expect, if we can't afford it, you just pull it out from underneath them, because that's not right either.
Right.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Where did we check for insurance?
I've checked with multiple places, and when I've done like a consensus of everybody, all of them, every single community says that they get theirs through, what's it called?
There's a consortium.
No, it's it's something to do with, like it's an agency but you have to pay dues to. It's like $200 and some a year, and that's how they get their insurance through.
Okay.
And then there's multiple different agencies that they can get through them, but with a discounted rate. So we checked with all of those and got this amount.
Okay, and this
Yes.
is the best that came
This
back?
is the best that came back, yes.
And it's for 4 employees?
4 employees, this would be about $100,000 for the 80, yeah.
For the 80/20 though?
Yeah, and then $1,400 a month out of every employee's check, and they still would have a $2,000 to $5,000 deductible on top of that.
I mean, you don't
Could
know
you
that
imagine-
This is what I do for a living,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy. I keep thinking commissioners, I know that's not right. Department of Commerce, that's who it's through.
Department of Commerce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm good with the raise side of it, but the insurance side of it, I don't think we've done enough study to even.
I would agree with
So
Mark on that.
that's why I was asking.
Did you make a motion on the raises?
No,
I did not.
There's been no motion on this
No
one.
motion at all.
Well, you can present.
No, I don't have a,
I'd like to present that the new employee rate will be starting out at $17 an hour. Then after the 90 days, we'll go to the 54 cents for this year. Then after this, for 5 years, a 3% increase every January 1. Incentives for certification and training. Really don't think 25 cents is adequate rate to and I think I'll be 50 cents at least, and that's even cheap. So I would like to propose that we not get 25, but get 50 for the beach grade and the mosquito, which I think can be accomplished. This young lady here that we're hiring is as proactive as what RJ is. I think they'll get their license just so they have it done in-house. And I was making a motion in that part.
That was a long-winded motion.
No, but I want
And we want to leave it at 3%.
yeah,
Are
5
you
years.
wanting to include anything with the evaluations in that? And I don't think
That would be something Jeff could have developed more knowledge on evaluation.
Okay, so
Would you like-
your motion is to accept our new
Just make
hire.
an amendment to, I'm sorry,
Alright, I just wanna make sure I'm clear on your motion is to accept our new hire at 17 with the, evaluation after 90 days and the 3% raises for the next 5 years, correct? With the incentives of 50 cents per certifications per employee
for weed and mosquito.
for weed and mosquito
And anything that the
certifications.
village administrator feels that they need to have per year,
Thank you.
just on the new.
Do I amend it before?
Yes,
Yes.
we'll amend it, then we'll put it in.
You can have a
the-
second before we can.
Second.
Second on the motion.
Okay.
Any discussion?
All right, I'd like to make an amendment to the motion. I would like to change the 3% to whereas all employees may receive up to 3% increase in wages every January for the next 5 years based on employee performance evaluation.
I will second.
And a vote for. All in favor?
I think that's a move forward.
Yes.
For
Right,
sure.
so what do you want information about stipends, insurance, all that stuff?
I'd like more information, and Suzanne, you're kind of in the field.
Yeah, I would like to, yeah. do a
Would you
little
like to
bit.
dig into it?
Yeah,
See
I'd
if
like
you
to-
packets made up, so we got some.
Yeah, something,
literature to
see what I
read.
can find, yeah. 'Cause I've got a company in mind.
I know we
I've
talked,
got a whole folder full of stuff.
Ben and I talked to RJ. I said, it's a process we have to go through, just $100,000 to pull out $100,000, RJ, it's gonna cost you, it's something we're working on.
Right.
And
Yes.
RJ knows that, and Ben and Carrie know that.
And some-
It's something that we need more information, more input,
Well,
more knowledge about.
There's different avenues, right,
Right.
that we can go. I just wanna make sure we don't have to go with a certain company or a certain.
No, it wasn't certain specific.
Okay,
It was-
that's what
it was
I
a lot
want, I
of
wanna make sure
different
I'm not
ones,
tied into something.
And we're not handcuffed.
Right, exactly.
yes. Some municipalities offered insurance, but gave them the stipend in lieu of it, just so they didn't have those extra expenses each year. So, because the stipend's a heck of a lot less than what they'd be paying.
Right.
So, some municipalities done that for the people
And
that
we are-
didn't want,
right.
couldn't afford,
Right,
you know,
we are
that.
only offering for the employee. We're not gonna offer a family
No.
package. We're not
No, no,
in
no.
for the employee.
Employee only, yes.
Well, I'm gonna make a note to definitely thank him for his patience. I know last year, the former council person told him that he would get insurance, and so we've had conversations, and I'm glad that he's patient when he's talking to you and understanding of this lengthy process. Anything else with budget at this time?
No.
All right.
We have to vote on
Yes, with a,
Oh,
oh, they put it down.
I'm sorry?
If discussion's over, we need to vote on Mark's original.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
A vote on the original motion
As amended.
as
as
amended.
amended. All in favor? It looks that way. Thank you for catching that, and I continue to learn from you all. Thank you. Now, we are done with budget. Thank you so much for presenting that. Did you have something else quickly that you wanted to add to budget, Gary?
No, I had this, but
Okay,
I,
great. Then recommendations,
but I put
are
it down
done.
lower.
To zoning. Sir Ben.
Okay, well, zoning this month, we had one fence permit that was issued, one garage, and one storage unit. So, that's, I came home from vacation and I had more on my desk in zoning than I had in 3 months. Kara goes in, she goes, there's a whole stack there, there's like 5 different things, okay.
Inside numbers,
With
Yeah.
the zoning, what was the guy's
Yes.
name with the version store? John?
Yeah, I just need to get copies.
Furniture store.
Yeah, the auction block.
Gotcha. Said it too fast. Tom Chris.
Tom, has he ever reached out to you?
I talked to Tom.
Do you need any pictures?
Huh?
Yeah, Tommy
Yeah,
is, he's
yeah.
managing
You,
it. Okay.
you're talking about the water issue?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, we're kind of watching it, but we're not sure where it's coming from, but he didn't think it was coming from our catch basin overflow and stuff, so I told him the next really hard rain, I go down and look.
I think a lot of his problem is great.
I think it's great, and one thing I'm not so sure is not coming off is one building back there,
Yeah.
pretty hefty, that big building, the downspouts and stuff.
He took Char and I around and showed us all the improvements and all his concerns.
Oh, yeah, I went through.
We took pictures and everything, so I just wanted to reach out to you.
Yeah, him and I was down there, I think Friday after Char
You came
contacted
back.
me when I
Yep.
came back from vacation, I went down and met with him.
Thank you for following up with
We
that.
walked it.
Alright, we're only halfway through this agenda.
Mhm.
Friends, how about services?
Other than what's already been said, I have nothing.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we talk more about those revisions for the employee evaluations.
Yep.
Hiring committee and an emergency plan. I did meet with the pastors, for a short-term recovery plan. I know that we have something in place with the school in Fairfield County, but I would like to work together with you guys if we need to come together for a meeting, and knock those things out, the revisions, the hiring committee, and the emergency plan to draft before the next meeting. I would certainly appreciate it, but I know everyone's busy. What are your thoughts?
Once you get all the revisions in there, then I can make everybody a copy.
So this is the newest copy.
Yeah. Well, there might have been a few updates since then.
That's probably last year's.
No, that's a brand new
This is
one.
new.
This is
Yeah, this
something
is
we've never
new.
done. I created a whole new
So,
emergency plan.
I did reach out to Char regarding this emergency plan, if I may. So there's a few things in here. When we talk about outside agencies coming in, or even our fire department, so all these people base off what they call an incident command system,
Right.
which is part of the National Incident Management
Right,
System.
which is
okay?
listed in there.
Right, so that's listed in there. But as far as the hierarchy of command in these things, and this all depends on how drawn out the event is, right?
Yeah.
But we have things in there such as, who your logistics person is, who your finance person is, who's in charge of resources, who's in charge of this.
Which
So-
is what we need to lay out with
Right.
ours, which is in
Yeah.
there.
So I sent this information to Shar today, and when she looks at it, she'll be able to see a flow chart and everything. I don't know if that's something we need to actually put in the plan as a written thing. It's just something we need to bear in mind that when other agencies come in and they start taking control of this, especially if FEMA comes in.
Yeah.
They're gonna operate on an incident command system. We need to know what our place is in that incident
Right.
command system. So that's just something we need to discuss.
That's why it's in there that it's either the sheriff or the whatever, or the fire department or whatever, it's
Fire
the
chief.
EOC,
Right.
they're the heads, this is what the mayor's job is, this is what the council's job is.
Right.
That's what we want in there, and we wanna know, where are we setting up for for.
Yeah, because that'll be on
That's
us
in there.
with
Right.
the fire
Right.
department,
Exactly.
with the local agencies.
Right. Right.
Where we're gonna do all the triage
Yes,
and all the busing.
that's what's in there. That's, we just gotta
Yeah.
finalize it and
I
make
must-
sure
I
we're
must have-
okay with the county and.
I must have overlooked that, Carrie, 'cause
And it's
Well-
done by incident as well.
Yeah, it's done by incident, and some of the places we may need to adjust.
Yeah, because I had question marks on a few things, and I had to adjust what the county speakers things or what, all that, I'd done all that adjustments already, and
How
Yeah,
does
so-
the,
Go ahead, Sharon.
how does Thursday, September 29th work for service committee to come together and get these things finalized? Are you out of town?
I will be in Myrtle Beach.
Suzanne, you have to cancel.
When do you leave?
Suzanne says there's no
September
way.
29th?
Oh, September.
September, yeah.
Yes.
You're getting
I
the
don't
fall
know.
festival,
No,
not this
yeah,
committee
yeah,
meeting.
September 29th.
When
I don't
you-
know, let me look at my calendar.
Say, when are you coming back?
I would love to try to
Yeah,
get
hold on.
together for an
Hold
hour,
on.
knock out the evaluations. I mean, obviously, if we have time before that to come in together and go, hey, these are the edits for the emergency, these are the edits for the
Hey,
evaluations.
Carrie, can you send me the thing for the evaluations again? I seem to miss it.
And
I
hiring committee.
can put a
Oh,
copy of it
hiring
in everybody's box
committee.
I
again.
appreciate
That's what I
it.
did last
Yeah.
time.
So,
I
I'm available
couldn't-
Thursday the 29th.
great. What time would you like to meet?
Anytime after 5:30 I can be available.
29th, I'm good with also.
29th.
Great.
I do believe I'm good. Let me check one more schedule.
You guys wanna do 6:30 here?
That's fine.
Post for the 29th at 6:30, the service committee coming together. I'll have 3 things on the agenda: the employee evaluation revisions, hiring committee, and emergency plan.
I will be here as soon as I can.
Say 7 o'clock.
I'm sorry, you said 7 p.m.?
Yeah, 7 p.m.
On the 29th.
on the 29th. Thank you guys so much. And then any revisions you can make, so we can make that meeting quicker for emergency plan. And, appreciate you guys on that. And hiring committee. All right, property maintenance, all of our favorites. Do we have anything else for services?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this struck me blank.
Backhoe,
Hiring committee.
hiring.
Who have we determined is going to go?
I thought that we mentioned one council
People
person,
volunteer.
but there's gonna be some training involved.
Yeah, because we still need to
How
get
we
an
speak.
outside person.
Yeah. So I thought we agreed mayor, a council person, and a couple residents with training. So that's again what we need to bring to the table on the 29th. Does that sound fair to you, or? Okay. Anything else for services? Okay, all of our favorites, property maintenance.
I need to amend my report. I had said that I'd never got the pics from Hamilton, but, he got them maybe right before I left today, so I just wanted to amend that.
So,
That's in the box.
so I inspected one property, 200 East Church. There was a report that vegetation from trees was growing, blocking the stop sign, as well as obstructing the view in the alley. Both were completely founded. I mean, the stop sign, you couldn't see, you were right up on it. Carrie's got the pictures, but also the alley is obstructing the view. A question I did have for the group, with particularly the tree out front. I know that there was something that Ralph had talked about when he was here, that the village owned trees within 10 feet of the property. Or 10 feet of the road.
Not necessarily.
And the devil's
The devil's line, is that?
Depends on the road.
It used to be called.
Oh, really? So do we know for sure who owns the tree? So I
You
don't.
have to look at
Okay.
the measure.
So
Inside the sidewalk or out on the homeowner side of the sidewalk?
Here, let me look at my picture.
If it's between the curb and the sidewalk, it's all right.
I don't believe it is between the curb and the sidewalk.
If it's behind the sidewalk, chances are it's probably not. I mean, you'd have to
If
do
the
exactly
street's
what
50 foot and it's already 50 foot, then no. But if it's 30 foot and we have a 50 foot right of way, then it's.
Yeah, now the sidewalk is right up against the street, and it is, I don't know.
Our signs there,
Our stop sign. I assume, yeah.
so it can be cleaned up.
I don't know if that's, should be us or the homeowner.
We can clean that up because it's hanging over the sidewalk. I wouldn't remove it right then, just turn it up.
I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
That's something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're doing that. Okay, so
So the brick church is over here.
Okay, so then Christie could be on the road.
Yes.
Does anyone need to be there?
I don't know if it's, you know,
They have like a hearing where they say.
I'm just asking, because I don't know.
Guilty or
Yeah,
not
it's-
guilty, and then if they choose that, then they go
Okay.
Then that's
the
that
lower-
date
lower
is-
case?
That
The lower-
one's
the one
turn
lower is the one
17,
where you-
the prosecutor. will-
Applications on it.
Yeah.
Is that
But
what
that's
you're
over the sign, we just go
Okay.
turn
I
it
need
up.
to be
Yeah,
there.
sidewalk.
I need to put that in.
Yeah, we'll just take,
Yes.
let's.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think you do.
Please
I
get it
think
up before you see the
Susan-
sign.
Yeah.
So,
Jeff and Dave are listed.
so there were some other residences reported via anonymous letter. I did not inspect them. So we had some back and forth about whether or not, about our complaint-driven policy and things of that nature. So you guys have seen Carrie's notes here. Code doesn't specify, et cetera, which is all true. Carrie did mention though that our previous solicitor had indicated, advised against us going around because it could be viewed as harassment, which from my perspective, it absolutely would be harassment. Because, you know, Rod knows I'm sometimes in violation of that.
I get that.
No, but
it was-
it's
there was-
funny. We can joke about it, right?
No, but it was one of those things that
Yeah.
you never think about it till
Right.
you put in that situation, and I've been in that
Right.
situation.
No, and you know what? You're 100% right, because, you know, you never think about it unless you're in that situation. So how do we, you know, so I did think about the possibility. I know we had some discussion last meeting about whether or not we need to change the method of how we're doing it. And I think that's a lot bigger discussion. You know, and if we're going to do that, you know, obviously we can't pick and choose what we're enforcing and what we're not. So if we're going to go around doing inspections, we've got to talk, that's a lot to bite off. You know, and how do we communicate with, you know? So Rod and I joke about this. I had no idea what the zoning was. I've never went on the
Right.
website and looked at it. I was
Well,
clueless.
none of us do.
Right.
Until you're
Right. So
in
how
that
do we
situation.
communicate that out? You know, if we try to, you know, if I'd have known, I'm not saying I'd change, might not have, but how do we communicate? You know, like Ron said, there's a lot of people probably just don't know. So how do we communicate that out without issuing a bunch of citations and, quite frankly, pissing a bunch of people off?
Well, with this property maintenance, are we actually allowed to use the private property?
We are.
Actually, it says
We
we
can.
can't.
The
Yes.
international.
We can bring the
property.
sheriff. If
That's
you
the way
read
I
the
read it
international
also.
property.
We can actually inspect the inside of the dwelling.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I know this, last meeting we had, Mark was talking about instead of being maintenance, or instead of being complaint driven, we just do it. So, I know in the past, last time I was on council, property maintenance, pretty much, it wasn't a round table. It was me, and it was Claude Ford until Claude Ford retired. And then it was me. So, and I know Mark talked about a lot of cars that have their license plates, no current registrations, anything like that. So here's my take. I don't mind doing that, but I know of a property right now that has a car on the property with current registration, current tags, that is filled to the brim with garbage. Bags of garbage. And I will not mention where it is. So, insofar as that, if we go in and we see a car, I mean, we're not obviously going to inspect everybody's car that's current tags. But I can understand the ones that are sitting on the street because they're walking the street for one. If they're on the street, by law, they have to have current registration and insurance. Yeah, by law.
That's a police matter, right?
That is a police matter. However, if we see a car that is on the street and we write them for not up to date tags, right? Does the prosecutor take them?
If it's on the street, you have to call the sheriff because they're on the street. If it's on the property, that's when you write them.
Okay. So if it's on the street, you can't write that as a property maintenance violation. And you would have to contact the sheriff.
Yes.
It has to be
If it's
on
on
the
private
property.
property.
In the right way.
Now,
Okay.
I looked up the codes. In your papers, you'll see these two things right here, just to see what it said. Does it say only complaint driven? Does it say, I wanted to know what it was.
Yeah.
In the code itself, I come across this section right here. It says the code official shall make all the required inspections or shall accept reports of inspection by approved agencies or individuals. We've never listed an approved agency or individual. The actual ordinance itself that passed the code is the one that talks about, it says enforcement performed by code enforcement officer through complaints. It doesn't say that the complaint has to be a resident. We've always just maintained that it had to be a resident, although the actual ordinance doesn't say it has to be a resident.
So it can be
So
anybody
I kind of wrote up like a sample here. This isn't just a sample. If we modified, depending on based off of, maybe the service department getting together and brainstorming, this is what we could do we wouldn't have to change the actual code. We could amend the ordinance to state that it can be performed by the code enforcement upon inspection. So if you see something, you can write it up. Or as well as complaints by residents and approved agencies. Now, the reason I went ahead, since it was in the code about that, the village employees drive around every day to see if something's broke, falling apart. They see violations all the time. They come in and they tell me about it. But because none of us employees are residents, in the past, because we've always maintained to have to be a resident in the complaint, we've never been able to say, hey, tell them, well, we have to have somebody else write them. So in there, if you've done, since that portion of enforcement is actually on the ordinance, if I typed it up as inspections by properties, the code enforcement officer upon inspections of properties within the village, so that means the code enforcement can go in, find violations, as well as the complaints, and also by the approved agencies, and we could put on there that the approved agencies is the village's employees reporting issues to the office. So the office would then turn it into the code enforcer, and then the code enforcer would do the inspection. Just like it wouldn't be no different than somebody making a complaint, it still has to go to the code enforcement officer. The code enforcement officer still has to go look to see if there is a complaint or something that happens. And then it also, so those are the things that could be done, since it's just the ordinance amendment, not the actual code amendment.
So the amendment we have in front of us
Right.
is the amendment to
If-
change it
if we
to
wanted
the
to change
agencies that we
those.
reported.
Well, if you wanted it to be the inspector making, finding a violation.
Yes.
And the residents complaining, and the agencies, we could have all three of them. But the current one only states that by complaints.
So are we going to send people around to every residence to go through? Every person that has a pool without a fence? Are we going to inspect every property, every outlet? And are we going to do that?
That should be.
In the-
Because if we switch to non-complaint driven, and we send one person out to look at one thing, unless we send them to look at everybody, this is not New York City, and we're not kicking people out of restaurants because there's 7 of them. We're not doing that. So if we're going to switch to that, then we need to have some long and serious conversations about what that looks like, and we need to involve our solicitor to see, should we be doing this? Look, you guys probably all know where I stand, but I'm just one person. But I think before I'm going to pick on Benny for a second. If Benny comes to my house and says, your grass is too long, I expect him to go to somebody else's house and say,
Your grass.
They don't have, well, no, they don't have a fence around it. I have a fence around my pool. And by code, you have to have one. And that's one page of 80 pages of code.
In the
So-
past, when I first started here, Mark and everybody, they started out that it was one council member and one resident that done the inspections. They went out every month and looked at all the properties, and then they went to complaint driven. And then, so, at least this way you guys know what they've done in the past. So,
When I was doing it, it was all of across the
yes,
street.
Olive. It was always Olive and Claude, or you and Olive, yes.
Or me and Claude.
Yes.
I was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand what Mark's saying about the vehicles without registration and all that. Yeah, I completely understand. And I agree that there needs to be a way to address it. You know, from my perspective, you know, we need to talk about that. And it's not just, oh, let's throw a resolution on here that says we're not complaint driven.
I think, Jeff, if I'm reading what you're saying, is that by going away from complaint driven, it is up to us as code enforcement officers every month to inspect every property in the village for compliance.
Yes.
I quit.
And the other thing is,
That's just all there is.
you know,
I'm not
the next
doing
thing is your property owners and your people in the village gonna say, well, you're picking on me, but you're not picking on this guy?
Right.
Are you gonna
That's
enforce
exactly
every
what's
little
going on.
tiny
And
thing?
there's
That's
just
gonna
no
make it-
way for one person to do that.
Right, I agree.
It's
Let me throw
not.
this out. I, as a resident, and also a council member, being that I'm a resident, I have already done one property maintenance complaint as a resident. Because I saw something on inspections that wasn't addressed. So technically, Jeff, or Rod, Suzanne, if we go out and see something, we think this is not good, as a resident, we can report it.
For sure.
Right, so
Right, because we are
the resident
residents.
reports it, but is also a council member. And that's just where I stand. I mean, I honestly, I don't want to go, and I understand what Mark's doing with this, I really do. I, as a council member, don't want to go every month and inspect every person's property. And then next month, Jeff has to re-inspect every property, and then Suzanne, and on down the line.
I just feel like you
Time
guys
for
the
that.
information that way you guys want to have.
No, I don't get paid enough for that.
And that's
Yeah,
not
we don't
the
get paid
intent.
enough and we don't have time for
The
that.
intent is getting it to where it does have some grass.
Sure.
I mean, we could probably go out right now and find 10 houses
Oh,
that need mowed.
I guarantee you.
Ah.
And 20 cars, and 20 cars that need tags on.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
there's one right down here
100%.
that's been sitting there for months, almost a year with no tags on.
But you're right, so how do we get some
Yeah.
teeth in it? And I think that's a bigger conversation, and I understand wanting to do that. And I think maybe as a group, we should talk about that more, or, you know, one of the committees talk about that. What does that look like?
Well, our solicitor has experience in doing property nuisances.
You know, and maybe that's a better way, create a separate ordinance for new. Maybe we need to reach out to the solicitor and see what they think. And get their-
I think it's above our head.
It's above mine, I know that.
That's a lot of code.
Because I know Dave and I have been, told everything in the book, and
Oh, I've had people beating on my door.
I've had eggs thrown
Yeah.
at car and house and
You
mysterious
picking on
flat
me.
tire.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, we don't want to revisit that.
So how do you guys feel about Carrie reaching out to our solicitor and asking for some information and guidance
What we
on?
paid for.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's go that route then.
Yes.
Anything else with property maintenance? Am I cutting anyone
Is
short on
anything I
discussion?
need- Anything I need to know for this month?
No.
I love
There's,
Jeff
there's
starts
court
needs
dates
mowed,
coming up.
mine does, so you
Yeah.
take care of that, bring the mower down, take care of it for us.
I will put my 15-year-old grandson on
Oh, no,
that.
no, no, we didn't say that.
No, we did not.
As you can see, there's a hearing on 308 tomorrow. That's
Right.
probably them saying, not guilty or guilty.
Okay.
And then deciding if they were.
Okay, so I don't need to do anything there.
120 license goes, the court date's on 10/17. The court date for 339 West Main, they have sent out a summons and, they had to send somebody because they didn't respond, and I'm assuming they haven't connected because they haven't listed. The 120 East Main Street, they cleaned up their stuff, so it can be closed, and then.
Okay, so 120's done?
Yeah, because it was next door, they had the weeds everywhere.
Okay.
The 342 West Main, that's the one that Mark didn't want to go door to door since they didn't pick theirs up, and I haven't seen the sheriff to find out if he could deliver it.
Okay.
So I need to reach out to him.
Okay.
I would advise you to have it.
Okay.
And then the 225 East High, they've got their second notice, but they have 90 days, so it wouldn't be an inspection. So the only thing that would be for you is if a violation comes in.
Okay.
And I think there is gonna be some, because somebody mentioned they were gonna turn one in, so.
Okay.
No, that was the one that you done in July, but they did 90 days before we got. the
Okay, so
inspection.
basically, there's nothing I need to go and inspect and take pictures and everything of
Unless
right
the new
now?
one comes in.
Okay.
And for the sake of trying to hurry this along, but also
Yeah.
address when there are court dates,
Yes.
you're gonna have enough notice for us to take off time
I'm
at
assuming
work.
the prosecutor will contact the code enforcement officers that's listed if they need them to appear.
Probably summons.
Yeah, they'll probably summons
Okay.
whoever. And it looks like
Okay.
Susan, Jeff, and Dave are the ones that were on,
Yes,
Suzanne,
Suzanne.
sorry, was the only ones on the two that's at the
Well,
prosecutor.
Lay Street probably go on that. I know that,
Remember last time?
they
We
both,
were all on
the
Lay
wife and the husband both had the same counsel, and the counsel withdrew from the side, the counsel was still representing the wife.
Oh,
She claimed it was a conflict of interest. And this was all, counsel that was set by the courts, because they claimed agency, so it's one appointment. So, that may drive at least his back, because they have them both, going to court on the same day. So,
Okay, well, thank you for that. Development,
I have
Mr.
nothing for
Fairclough.
this time.
Okay, old
That was easy.
business?
New business. Or you say
Nothing for old business?
Old business, yes, I got the question. For
I
Carrie.
think we hit it all.
Have we heard anything about our AED?
No, not yet.
No, that's our arcade house. So,
The AED is the heart
I got it.
thing.
Yeah.
We ordered it, but it's been on back
it's
order
at,
too.
it's at 12 weeks, so
Yeah.
we're approaching probably 12 weeks.
Yeah. It's kind of like the slide. It took us 11 months, and the backup is taking us almost 11 months, and.
I didn't know, what's the cause of this delay?
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, it's.
Now, people don't wanna work. Is there any way you can do like a quick little email follow-up on that? Just to
Yes.
show that we haven't forgotten, we're waiting still?
Yeah.
Anything else for old business? Anyone have anything for new business? I have a couple ideas I would like to quickly run by everyone. There's some signs that, would be a deterrent for speeding that I would like to propose. It's some information, it's a quick discussion. It's thoughts.
Is there, locations, cost, and
Cost.
number?
Everything's in there.
She had me, we had some complaints and was asking, saying, why can't you put these in? So we looked in to see what they were. The recommendations from this Jim, he gave me prices for three things. One of them's a kind of like a traffic camera, but the traffic camera doesn't do like, actual, it's not actually a ticket, it's one they send out for just a warning. But, because the laws state that you have to have a sheriff there to take a picture, so it's not even, so that
They're
just
still
seems right
determining
away.
the constitutionality.
Yeah, I already checked that out.
One of them up, Benny can get his old car up, see how fast it'll be.
What they- what-
Right up in there.
What the person was wanting was to do one of those like speed things, but with the flashers.
Yeah.
And the guy, at the traffic logic says that having the flashers inside of town, is not recommended, but having it to where the sign flashes like slow down or whatever, but not having the flashers, because the flashers are supposed to be strictly school zones, and ours, this area wouldn't be a school zone.
How
So,
how effective are these at curbing the speed?
I don't know if it's on here, but, this, he actually recommended the 18, the Evolution 18, because it's got more of the flashing for the switching off saying slow down or whatever.
Right.
Now, I had him quote 4 to say they're coming into town this way, they're coming into town that way on Main, and then School Street, just 2 streets, kind of in both directions. And that was the 6.6 quote that he gave me, is how much it would be. They are, solar powered, but that was an option that we told the lady that we would look into, so.
What do you think the effectiveness of that has been? I'm curious. Make them
My-
speed up?
My personal
That's
opinion
what
is,
I
I
thought,
don't
hey,
think,
let's see how fast I can
I
go.
know,
think
that's
you're right,
what
yeah.
I'm right there with you.
I don't think it
I
would
don't-
slow it
that's
down.
not
Yeah,
turn
I
it
just
off.
thought I would propose it.
The person
I'm
sent a
not-
letter saying, other communities have these, why don't we? But those are mainly the ones with, because they have the flashers, but those are school zones.
That's great if they can
Right.
enforce it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this
We
is
just figured
have
we'd give you
all day
guys the
'cause they have a police
information,
department.
so it'd be addressed.
Yeah, I mean, this is, to me, this is a waste of money,
Yeah.
because all you could, how many kids up and down Main Street? I mean, just last night, I counted 3, that were going over 50 mile an hour.
Yeah.
Through
Yeah.
the, through here.
I don't think
It's more of a deterrent.
I understand the deterrent part of it. If it can't actually produce a result, get people to slow down or drive safely or help us with enforcement, I think it's just throwing money.
I think so.
Yeah, I think we're back to what Mark hit on earlier. There's gotta be some teeth.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
because,
no teeth and.
That's like telling your kid you're gonna spank them if they do wrong, but never spank them.
right.
My kids
Yeah.
don't know anything. So, okay, I appreciate that discussion. Another thing I have to bring to your attention, real quick, we have a feral cat problem. We have a feral cat problem in a couple areas of our village, and I've partnered with Grateful Acres Pet Sanctuary, and it's $15 a cat to get them fixed and shots up to date. Grateful Acres Pet Sanctuary would do 15 if we did 15. I propose the idea of $300 a month, once in September, once in April, of $150. I would partner with Grateful Acres, or the Village of Amanda would partner with the Grateful Acres Pet Sanctuary to help control the pet population. I feel like Bob Barker. And in an effort to control the feral cat issue in 2 locations I'm aware of in this village, trap and taking them up there, getting them fixed, and bringing them back released with their clipped ears would be upon Grateful Acres volunteers and our community. I would reach out for volunteers and make the community feel involved in that. If the Village of Amanda would like to partner with Grateful Acres Pet Sanctuary, if we did $150 in September and $150 in April, they would do 2 other months.
Will you keep the cats?
No, unfortunately, they have to be
Release
released, but they'd be fixed and not able to
Not able to reproduce.
reproduce.
Sure, has anybody, and I ask you this because I had good success with this a couple years ago. Somebody reached out to us about live trapping cats, which we're all about that. And they took them up to Capital Area Humane Society.
Mhm.
Now, I don't think they did the shot training. I think it was strictly neutering and clipping the ears.
Mhm.
Has Grateful Acres reached out to them?
It's SOS. I'm not sure. I think it's Capital Area Humane Society and
I
SOS.
think it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, it's similar in
10
Columbus.
years ago, I was involved, and it was like $10 to do
Yeah.
feral cats.
Yeah.
So 15's probably.
So back to this traffic light issue.
Wait.
I'm 100% in favor of that. I really am. But the bad thing is we have, down on my end of town, your end of town, we have people that bring these cats in because they're cute, cuddly kittens, and then as soon as The
They're
the kitten's gone, they booted out. So we're just gonna have a revolving door of these people
Yeah.
that throw these pets out, and the expense falls upon us or other agencies to take care of them. And I don't know where to draw the line. I mean, yeah, I'd love to see it, because, man, we've got kittens galore running around
Yeah.
down there.
You have
but-
to honk the horn to get down the
Yeah,
road.
but then some other
That's fine.
person gets one and, you know, or adopts one or whatever, and then it's thrown out when it's no longer cute and cuddly anymore.
Agreed.
And then we have this cycle repeating and repeating and
Agreed.
repeating.
I mean, it's a cycle with our property maintenance in some instances. It's a cycle with cats in some instances. We can't change what people do or don't do, but we can change the way we respond.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah.
I
So-
am too.
So if I understand right, they'd partner with us, cats would be picked up, dropped off, and returned after they've been fixed and had their ears clipped.
Correct. None of the Village of Amanda people, council, or employees would be responsible for transporting.
Yeah.
I would organize and represent the Village of Amanda in partnership with Grateful Acres and our constituents that are frustrated with. Maybe there's someone on McKinley that says, hey, I've got next Tuesday off, I'm happy to help transport. Or maybe there's someone on High Street that says, I don't have the time, but I want to donate $15 so you can get another cat. And it's a way to partner with our community and show efforts of improving our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it worth, can we put a donation jar somewhere, either?
That needs to go on our website.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
have to be very careful on
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole donations and what we can take
To
and
the
all that.
village, yeah.
I'd want to research that. So my proposal at this point is to invest in 15 cats in September, 15 cats in April, and look into that idea of donations. And I would partner with Grateful Acres and the community to do the transporting.
So $300 a year.
Try it out for a year, you know.
It's going to Grateful Acres.
It's $300.
I mean, that's an
this
idea,
year.
but I wanna make sure that I'm covering my behind
Right.
and our behind before we start saying we're donating
Yeah.
to another
So-
entity.
Should we check with some humane siding and see if they're cheaper?
No, they're not.
So the
I'll
Humane
I'll
Society.
move that we do it for a year.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Everybody's happy.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Sounds like we've all had cat poop in our flower beds,
Yeah.
it sounds like. Thank you for that, guys.
What about if you have a neighbor that you know keeps getting cats?
Oh,
Cat keeps getting
I
bitten?
know
You
that
never
neighbor.
see the
I
kittens
know
with
that
the horn.
neighbor. I know that neighbor.
Pick up all the cat.
That's all I have, for new business. Anyone else?
I've got what's still listed there.
The resolution to accept the rates set by the auditor.
This is, the auditor sets, it tells us how much we get for our property tax. We just have to pass it every year.
The 2.7.
So, yeah. Once it goes around, it's a triplicate, so you guys want to sign all three.
Move to accept.
Thank you, Mark. Vote for?
Yes.
All in favor? We are getting tired. Continue
I gotta get to work.
with medication. Sorry, I didn't mean for it to take this long.
I'm sorry for being late, but we had a kid get bummed up and laid on the
I hope they're
Pass
okay
that
now.
around.
Okay, so we need to sign
Mitigation
all
projects,
three.
do we wanna cover the mitigation
Oh, just right
projects in our service committee? Or can you do it at what you wanna say? in
No,
a
this
quick
has to be
minute?
passed now, because it has to be done to them
And
by
the whole being
October.
called upon and
Okay,
done
we
with.
don't have to.
Okay, so the mitigation, ideas that Ben and I come up with, these are projects that, like I said in the information, it's not something we have to do, it's just something that we think might need issues. It doesn't mean we're gonna get mitigation money, it could mean that we could get our own grant money or pay in-house. These were our ideas to put on there. These can be modified, they can be taken off, they can be added to later, but they need, this list, we just didn't know if anybody else had anything to add.
Yeah, did you
or,
print what I had?
Yeah, you had mentioned adding the addition to the building here on the mitigation.
And the priorities?
And they will do that. They'll set up like short-term and long-term goals,
Okay.
but there's not a priority list. It's just you work off of it at your own meeting. Now,
So
you said
we-
something about the surgeon, not surge, the technological stuff of the lift station. That is something that's going to be needing done soon because but it is a long-term goal because it's probably going to be very expensive. Benny's been having problems getting parts.
Here.
Yeah, same spot. Just names, all we need, just find your names.
That has to be roll call. That has to be voice voted.
What, this?
What?
This is budget.
Oh,
Oh, it has to be,
Yeah, this is right there.
so let's,
Okay.
let's start with mitigation. Are we on
Yeah.
that still?
yeah.
She asked me.
So the
I
list
understand.
was,
I don't mean
we
to
were
sound
gonna
like I'm
put
cutting you
a
off on
surge
this.
and lighting protection on our buildings. None of our buildings have that. We figured we would just look in to see what options are available and we could find out the price and then maybe then work it into our 5-10 year plan. The upgrading the technologicals for the lift stations. We were already
Gary, can
doing
you
the
pause
emergency
for a
plan.
second? Are you saying we should pause on signing?
No, you can do this, we
Okay.
can sign, but
We
we
just
have
need to
to
go
roll
back
call.
and do a
Okay.
roll call vote. The emergency plan, we're already updating it, but we wanna just add it as what we're doing, so they have that. The active awareness things was something that I thought of, I guess something we'll go over next.
We thought of.
I thought of it, I brought it to you, and I brought it to Dave. And then you guys added too. So debris removal at both culverts, clean out the streams, backup generator on the municipal building, because we got backup generators everywhere else. Culvert on East Main by school repairs. The culvert by Main, since we're already doing this culvert, we wanted to add that culvert on the list. And then, look into the flooding issue on the west end. Happens when the creek's too high and it can't get out because the creek overflows. And so we just want to look into options. And then, possible storm sewer upgrades as we find them. They said we can add other projects as we go, or we can subtract, whatever, but, these were the ones that Ben and I come up with. Was there any of them that you guys can think of that might be weather permitting related that could go on the mitigation plan? Yeah, what I did is I went through the old plan and looked to see what other communities had down that had this chart, and we said, well, we don't need that, because we've already done that, we already done it. These are, and then we added some,
Well, as
so-
you stated, it can be
Added to, subtracted, right. We just wanted you guys to vote on these. Once they get everybody's, projects, they'll finalize the plan. The plan will then, come back to us it's already came to us. It'll go to FEMA and the state, and once they give their approval, they'll come back to us to pass, and so it'll be in 2023 that we'll pass it. So,
Thank you. Motion to accept mitigation.
Second.
Second by Suzanne, all in favor? All in favor, great. Thank you for all of that.
And as I said, as a point of order.
yes, it says roll call
Has to
vote.
be roll
So it was first by Moore, seconded by
Suzanne.
Hamilton.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
The resolution, this one.
Oh, that
It actually
resolution.
says
Oh,
that to be
yeah.
roll call, so.
Right,
it
yeah,
has to
no,
be
I thought you
roll
were
call
still
vote.
talking about the mitigation.
So,
order. It just states it has to be.
I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth.
I know.
on
I didn't-
my
I didn't
page.
realize it stated that, so.
It's going, like, I'm not sure where I'm
So you
at
just-
here. So, can I read that, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just call out each person and
But-
say yea or nay.
Yeah. Let it be further resolved that the clerk of this council, just roll call vote. Suzanne Miller?
Aye. Yes.
Jeff Hamilton?
Yay.
Dave Price?
Yay.
Rodney Martin?
Yes.
Mark Moore?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just didn't want everybody to put that.
Yes.
No, I'm glad you did it.
Thank you.
And then the other thing that I had on here, when we were doing the emergency plan, I was trying to come up with mitigation ideas. I saw on the mitigation plan where Lancaster gives out emergency kits to people that have already had a disaster. And so I asked them, I said, hey, can we do them for like a pre-disaster? Because this is the point of the mitigation. They said that they didn't think at this time there was a grant available through the mitigation, but to put that on there, we wanted to do that. So I I come up with an idea, maybe after we done the Mercy plan, that we would, you guys maybe could have like a mock disaster plan. I talked to Dave, I talked to Shar, and then told him what I had come up with, and I told him about the Mercy plan, and they both liked the idea, but wanted, I went ahead and talked to, when I was at the mitigation meeting, talked to the CERT and FEMA and Red Cross, and said, hey, we decided to do something like this, are you guys okay? So they all said, hey, they'd be love to be involved in it if they did. So I figured I would kind of decide, give you guys the information if you guys want to work towards that, and if so, then maybe you guys can form a committee to help plan like a disaster thing. The whole goal was to finish the emergency plan and get the information out to the residents of what our plan is, and having the training for all of us. We did the FEMA training online, but doing an active training might be something that would stick in our minds more than something we read.
So my thoughts are here is, I told you before, we want to look at an event that affects the whole village, tornado, big natural disaster. As far as forming a committee, I think we should just tell the EMA what we're looking for and let them plan it and come back with us. That way, we don't have any advanced knowledge of what we're doing. We'll be just as in the dark as our residents are. And that'll force us to adapt use our plan. Yeah, and adapt.
See where our weaknesses are.
Exactly.
Well, I would suggest that, I would suggest that, somebody work with the emergency management that has that area of expertise, that can communicate and work with them on their level and know what they're talking about versus me who doesn't have a clue, or Carrie or Ben, somebody like yourself is already in that versus, that would be my suggestion. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
When I talked to FEMA, that was the goal type thing, that FEMA, Red Cross would come in and work together planning it, and that they would set up that type of part of it, and then maybe we could work on doing other stuff.
Right, but
it's up to you.
I'm talking about who's gonna make the calls, who's gonna call
As
them.
soon as John gets here, in emergency management, Fairfield County, we follow.
Right.
Yeah, but until then,
If you need a liaison between the agencies.
Fire chief.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion.
we nominate you.
Yeah, because I'll be the liaison between council and now.
Well-
And then, he used to be fire chief
Yes, he did.
back in the day.
Oh,
So
really?
he's got some knowledge of this stuff too, so.
I have none.
My thought was this, we host it, but them all come together and
Yeah, that's cool.
be part of the plan of things.
But I don't think that we should form a committee to have any advanced knowledge of what they're doing.
I agree.
Well, that, no. Just plan the event itself.
Just, because the one thing I did suggest was we do it during spring break, so that there's not confusion at the school, we can use the school if we need to, for sheltering in place or whatever. So that was just my suggestion.
So that would give us plenty of time to plan for that.
Absolutely.
So we don't have to discuss anything
And this will go
tonight.
in.
No, this was just something to bring up.
Yeah, so when we talk about our emergency plan, Suzanne, and the service committee gets together to
Yes.
do this will be something we can roll into that.
Right,
Yes.
and I think that will be better if it's just us.
September 29th,
Sit
yep.
down
And
and go over it.
Yep.
In
And
addition,
come just to some.
in addition to that, I just thought I would see if I could look into.
I think we need to go through this first.
Well, here's the thing, if we want to do the Mercy kits or the other thing, it doesn't necessarily mean we have to do it, but if I could look into if we can get grants for it to cover the expense of the mock thing.
Yes,
If we
absolutely. Yeah,
can
look
get
into it.
expense, that I just
That's fine.
wanted approval to look into those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
look
then if
into
we
it.
decide to do it later,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
can
look into
pass
grants.
that.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion for you to look into the
No,
grants,
just-
and I've been in
just
communications
get information.
with people about this event as well. So I like your idea, but also a little bit of planning for our event, and